Alright guys and girls, welcome to another episode of Astral Auto Repairs. Can you dig it? Alright, check it out. Behind me, I got a 2005 Chevy Impala, and today we're going to show you how to replace the front brake pads and rotors. Coming up on Astral Auto Repairs. This channel is a member of the Astral Stars, which means we have a zero-tolerance policy against the harassment of others. Anybody who violates that policy will be banned. For further information, please visit www.theastralstars.com. Alright guys, first things first. Safety is number one. Do not continue on this video without safety. Get your vehicle jacked up with a hydraulic jack, and you want to make sure you have jack stands. And you're going to notice, you notice I got it on wood. That's because there's dirt up underneath. Do not put your jack stands on dirt or it will sink into the ground and the car will fall on you. So make sure you have a nice 2x10 piece of wood on each side, and make sure you go inside and apply your emergency brakes. And as you can see, I got it pushed down already. Just push that down. It locks the car in place so it does not roll off the stand. All right, the next thing you want to do, up here, your master cylinder. Here's your master cylinder. You want to take the cap off, and then what you're going to do is called the, dang it. Then what you're going to do is take a piece of paper towel, ball it up, stick it inside, and I call this the Timmy towel, because when we push the pistons back, the brake fluid is going to come up, and you don't want it to spill out and possibly cause a fire or anything, so the paper towel will soak it up. You don't want to use a rag, use a paper towel, because a rag might stop it up, and then it'll be just like having the cap on. Now the reason why removing the cap also is that some master cylinders have a one-way valve in it that flaps back and forth. If you mess that seal up while pushing those pistons back with this cap still on it, when you do the job, the brakes will go to the floor. Then you'll have to replace the master cylinder, breather, a whole bunch of mess. So just get you a paper towel, stick it like that, and then we're ready to go. All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, the first thing you want to do is get you a 19mm socket, shallow, and I'm using my impact driver with my adapter from Harbor Freight so I can hook up and put sockets on it. Now you're going to remove the hubcap first. Your hubcap is held on by these 5 little caps right here. That's why I got this right now. So you just take them loose. And take the cap off. All right, let's do the other side and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the next thing, dang it, look at it. Guys, you see that spider? That is a, let me get a little air here. Comes out. Yeah! Yeah, look at that, guys. Look at how big that spider is. Yeah, boy. He kind of pissed off right now. Oh, unless that air feel good. But anyway, alright, stand back a little bit. There we go. Can't mess with that 175 PSI. Alright, the next thing you want to do is get you a 19mm or 3/4 inch socket, deep, preferably an impact. And I'm using my impact gun here. Put on reverse, and we're going to take the lugs off of the tires and take the tires off. Alright, let's do that with both sides, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're on the driver's side, and we got the steering wheel turned all the way to the left. Now, what I want you to do is take notice of between this little opening right here. This is your caliper. You're going to see the brake pad right here, and right here is the rotor. Matter of fact, I'm going to move the rotor a little bit so you can see the rotor turning. Now what I'm going to do is show you 2 ways of pushing back. This is the piston right here. In order, before you put in new brake pads, you got to push that piston back into the caliper. I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing that. One is with a screwdriver. All right, so you want to take a flat screwdriver, and what you want to do is try to wedge the screwdriver between the brake pad and the rotor. Now right now it's kind of difficult right there, so I'm going to try to wedge it between here just to get that piston back a little bit. And then once I push that piston back a little bit, then I can go ahead and get it between the rotor and the brake pad. And then I'm going to keep prying it back And I'm going to push that piston all the way back until it stops. Alright, let's get that done, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we pushed it all the way back. Now you see all that room in there? That's great. The next thing you want to do is your caliper has to be able to slide back and forth in order for the brake pads not to heat up. And these are the slide pins, top and bottom right here. So now we're going to check those, which is very easy. Grab your caliper and you should be able to move your caliper back and forth. If it can move back and forth with ease like that, then you're good to go. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is take our caliper off. We'll be right back. Alright guys, now we're about to take our caliper off, but before you do that, I want you to get your coat hanger or a piece of wire or something, and you bring it up here. Here's your coil. You're going to see your coil spring up here. Just take this wire, make sure it's nice and secure to that, because what you're going to do is when we take this caliper off, we're going to hook this caliper onto this wire. You do not want this caliper dangling along this hose, or you will damage that hose. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is take your 3/8 drive ratchet with a 15mm 3/8 drive socket. And you want to go here. 1, 2. Alright, let's get both those bolts out and we'll be right back. Alright, both bolts are ready to come out, and that's all you do is slide them out. Both of them are the same length, but take notice that the one on the top is going to have a little plastic bushing on there. So you want to make sure that one goes back at the top. Alright, next thing we do, take our caliper. You should just take your caliper, take it off. Put the wire through it. And keep that hung up out of the way. There we go. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we'll do, take off our caliper bracket. Now your caliper bracket is held on by two 18mm bolts. Now those bolts are going to be super tight, guys. Now right here, I'm using a 18mm shallow socket 3/8 drive with a 3/8 drive ratchet. And as you can see, those are really tight. So you're definitely going to have to use something strong. Try to go with a 1/2 inch. Me, I'm going to go with an 18mm deep 1/2 inch drive with a wobble, with a 1 inch wobble extension. Wobble extension looks like that. So what happens is when I put the socket on, it wobbles. So I can get in there like that, and I'm going to use my earthquake air gun. And it takes it off with no problem. Or you're going to be using a 1/2 inch ratchet. Alright, now what you want to do is while you're loosening these up, take your other hand and hold the bracket in place. Okay, both bolts are out. Take the whole bracket, put it down to the side. That is ready for us to clean up. Now we can remove our rotor, and that's all you have to do. Just take it, slide the rotor right off. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got our caliper bracket here. We're going to have to set all this up. Now the first thing you notice that the old brake pads, this is not bad name brand. There is no, oh there it is, it does have a wear sensor. So what we're going to do is pop one of the brake pads out and slide it this way, and this one has a little wear sensor on it. So what we want to do is take the brake pad with the same wear sensor, put it right there. This one doesn't, so that one goes right there. Make sure the brake pads that you get comes with these anti-squeal shims right here, because without them your brakes will squeal. Alright, the next thing we'll do is make sure your new brakes come with the hardware. If they don't come with the hardware, what you're going to have to do is try to clean these clips up, because if the brake pad gets stuck, now matter of fact, let me show you right here. If I put this back in here, I'm going to show you this thing. Now, this thing is like really stuck. This is supposed to slide easy back and forth. I'm really pushing this thing to slide. You want to make sure that thing slides easy. So, you have to clean all that dirt up, or make sure you get some with new clips. Next thing you do is take a notice how your clips are installed. You notice this little lip is up, so we know when we put them back, that little lip got to be up. Not like this, it's got to be like that. So take your clips, pop them out, Take the other side, pop it out, put that to the side. The next thing you're gonna do is get you a wire brush, and what you gotta do is go ahead and clean this up real good right along those edges. All right, let's clean that up, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got that cleaned up. The next thing you do, let's grab us a clip, and we remember how it's set in. So that's all we have to do, just set it up right here. Pop it right into place. Take this one and pop this one right into place. Great, guys, that is looking good, man. Look at that shiny parts in there. All right, the next thing you're gonna do is called the 007. You gotta put some brake lubricant here or anti-seize right along the contacts in here so the brake pads can slide. Now, usually what I would do is get some lubricant, stick my finger in there and wipe it along there, and it becomes a whole bunch of mess. But a good friend of ours named Manic Mechanic 007, he's in the comment section below. Check him out. He said, Tim, stop doing that. Get you some Q-tips and use the Q-tips to put in there. And it's a lot less messier. So I went out and bought some Q-tips.
I feel like I've heard this story before.
Deja vu.
Yeah.
And I know new people like, what is she talking about? Yeah. I just heard it. He never said it. I've been subscribed to this channel forever.
Yeah.
All right, so we take a little anti-seize, and what we do is just put it right there on the contacts, on each 4 of them. All right, let's get that done, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got them lubricated up. The next thing we're going to do is carefully install our brake pads, and that's all you do is grab the one with the wear sensor, and that's going to go on this side, and it just goes into the groove and fits in there. And look how easy that slides, guys.
It's groovy.
Heck yeah. Now see, I got it. It's sliding so much that it's actually coming out. It's hard to hold it in place, but we're gonna make sure it holds into place. And let's get our other one and make sure the pad side faces each other. Don't put it this way. I mean, you can put it that way too, but you put it that way, you're gonna hear grinding like crazy. So let's get that one installed. And I gotta
Will the car even stop?
Heck yeah, it'll stop.
It'll stop?
Heck yeah, it'll stop, all right. All right, great. Look at that. That is set up and ready to go. Man, this is cool. Look at them brakes. All right, let's bring this over to the car with the brand new rotor, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we got our brand new rotor. Now, you guys might be wondering why we're changing the rotor, because when the customer steps on the brakes, this car shakes. Now, you're going to say, well, why didn't you just turn the rotors? Guys, come on now. If you're going to turn the rotors, they cost you about $15 each, $15 a piece. You got to take them off, go down to the shop, drop them off, then come back later on and pick it up. Rotors are brand new rotors are so inexpensive, you might as well do it this way. Do it the right way. All right, so we get the rotor on, put the rotor into place. The next thing we're going to do is carefully, now here's our 2 bolts. Let's get this out of the way. Let's do a side thing. Let's sweep up to the side around here. So, yeah, get that out of the way over there. All right, now here's our 2 bolts. We want to make sure they're not in. Make sure they're out just enough. Then we're going to take our caliper bracket with our brake pads. We're going to slowly place it over, and then you got to twist it to line them up.
So how come this rotor doesn't have that screw?
Hold on one second. Then you got to try to just get one of the bolts and start it off by a couple threads, just so you don't cross thread it. And then we're ready. Now, what Sylvia's talking about is some rotors have, here, I can say right here, some rotors have, instead of the 5 lugs, it will have a little hole right here, which a little screw will screw into the hub, and it keeps the rotor straight. A lot of cars do not have that. So now if you want, what you can do is take one of the lugs and you put that lug on, and that's to keep that rotor into place while you're doing your brakes. Now we got that done. The next thing we're going to do is hold our brake pads, bring our brake pads in to meet the rotor. Grab our 18mm deep. And we're going to tighten up those 2 bolts. You notice I just brought that in just a little bit because I want to tighten them up at the same time. Now tighten it. Okay, and the bottom one. And all that vibration took this brake pad out. And that's how exactly it's supposed to do too. So we bring that back in. Whoops. Dang it, man. These things are really... Alright, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, the next thing we do, we're going to do the 007 again. Got a little anti-seize up here, and here's our caliper bolts. And that's all we're going to do, just put a little thin layer up there. And the top one. Okay. I'll set this to the side. Now what we're going to do now is unhook our caliper. Okay, and we're going to bring it down over the brake pads. And what you got to do, your boots, you got to push them boots in to make sure that it goes right over just like that. Let's grab our bottom one. Stick our bottom one in there, started by a couple threads. Then the top one, we gotta push that boot in there and get our top one into there. Start that by a couple threads. And you want to start this by a couple threads so you can make sure that it's not being cross-threaded. Alright, then what I'm gonna do is grab my big bill ratchet. Yeah, I like this big bill. With my 15mm shallow, and what we're going to do is go in there and tighten up both of them. Now, if you're doing this with a ratchet, what you want to do is you want to go... Let me go show you a little bit here. When you tighten this up, you want to go till it stops, and then a little bit more. That's it. All right, let's get the top one tightened up, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, before we go into the other side, we're going to put our tire on because I want to show you something very important when you go to tighten these tires up. Get your tires on. Get your lug nut started by a couple threads. That's so you just make sure you don't get them cross-threaded. Now, because sometimes a lot of rust builds up behind the rims and on the hub and all, if you go to tighten it up like 1, 2, 3, 4, there's a good chance that rust is back there and will stop this wheel from setting flush. So the wheel now is setting crooked. So when you go down the road, the car's going to be shaking. You'll be like, dang it, there's something wrong with the brakes, but it's not. So when you go to tighten up these lugs, you got to go in a cross pattern. First of all, you want to bring one in a little bit just to keep the wheel straight. And then you want to like start from here. 1, cross over, cross over, cross over, cross over. That's done. Now, on the hubcaps, remember you got these plastic little things right here. I'm going to show you on this side because I ain't going to show you on the other side. You got the plastic things right there that screws on to those lugs. So you want to make sure you got the opening in the hubcap that matches up with the tire valve stem. Put it over it like that. Line it up. And don't use the air gun on these. Actually, if you want, you can actually just use the socket without anything up there. And that's all you have to do is just bring them in and hand tighten them. And this side is done. We'll be right back. Alright guys, we're up here at the master cylinder, checking out our Timmy towel, and check that out. When we push those pistons back, there's no leaks all around here at all. The paper towel soaked that right up. So what we're going to do is take our paper towel out, a little plastic bag, put the plastic bag in, and get us a new one. Stick that in there, and go to the other side. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, we are now on the passenger side, and got the steering wheel turned all the way to the right. Very first thing, let's take off our caliper. We got our two 15mm bolts right here, and I got my 15mm shallow, 3/8 drive. Break that one loose, break that one loose, and let's take them bolts out. We'll be right back. All right, we're ready to take our bolts out. Remember, the top one has that little bushing on it, so keep that on the top, one on the bottom. This time we're going to push back the piston in a different method now. We're going to use a C-clamp. So wiggle the caliper out, turn it upside down, let it rest right there. Take one of your old brake pads, just pull it out, set it up, doesn't matter which way you put it, set it up on the caliper like that. Now you're going to take a C-clamp, you're going to bring the C-clamp just like that, and you're going to slowly turn the C-clamp clockwise, pushing that piston back into the caliper. And you want to go very slow, because if you try like really fast, it's a good chance you can just push that paper towel right out of the master cylinder, and then you'll be looking crazy in your face. Alright, so let's push that back all the way till it stops, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, next thing you do, get this out of the way. We got our wire hooked up here to hold up our caliper. So put it through there. Wrap that up, keep that out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is get our 18mm deep with our 1-inch wobble extension, 1/2-inch drive. And let's go in here and take off the 2 bolts to holding in our caliper bracket. Man, that was tight. Alright, take that off, set it down, take our rotor, put it out of the way. Alright, let's go and set this up with the new brake pads and new clips. We'll be right back. Alright guys, here we go. We got it set up. Let's pop this one out, and you guys, you know the deal. Go ahead, our clips the tabs are facing up, so we know that's good. Pop that clip out. Pop that clip out. Take our wire brush and clean right along where the clips go at. So let me get that done, and I'll be right back. Alright, we got them cleaned up. Now let's get our new clips. Set our clips in there into place. And again, you know, guys, definitely get some brake pads with new clips. Okay, let's set this one into place. And the next thing is, what's next, Evie?
The 007.
That's right, guys. The 007. The Q-tip. Now, if you don't use a Q-tip, then it's not the 007, so don't call it that. Don't embarrass yourself. Put it on the Q-tip and lubricate the 4 contact points. Alright? So let's get that done, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're ready. Now we notice this side has the wear sensor. So we're going to get our new brake pad, and we are going to slide it into the grooves on both sides. Okay, that's one. Oh, look at this, I got this messy already, man.
Well, isn't that the point of the 007?
It is, but you know, when you're messy, you're messy. Alright, let's get this other one in there. To get this. Okay. In there, great. Let me change my gloves. And while I'm changing my gloves, I want you guys to meet me over back at the car with the new rotor. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're back over here. Let's get our rotor on. And just from learning from the other side, what we're going to do is take one of the lug nuts and put that lug nut on to keep that rotor into place. And of course, I'm going to need something to tighten this up with more. Alright guys, let me tighten this up and I'll be right back. Alright, got that brought in. Now we're going to take our caliper bracket with our new brake pads. Slowly bring it over to the rotor. And then we're going to get one of the bolts lined up and start it in. Look at that brake pad just slide right out of there. And that's the way you're supposed to do. Get the one. And then start the second one. Great. Then we're going to take our 18mm deep socket and go ahead and tighten up both of them. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, next thing we're going to do, unhook our caliper. Bring our caliper down. Now, you see how I'm trying to bring this caliper over here now? This is wrong. You want to take a look at that hose. Notice how that hose is twisting up? You want to make sure that hose is not twisting up, or you're going to mess some brakes up. There we go. Now what we're gonna do is bring these down, bring the caliper down. Now this is boot up here. We're gonna push this boot in. Get that lined up. Let's get out one of our pins, the one with the bushing, and it's already 007'd. You like that?
Very good.
Put the bolt, put the bolt in there. Start it by a couple threads. Great. Lower it down. Push this bolt in, till it lines up. Get our bottom bolt. Put that in. It's by a couple threads. All right. Get your 3/8 drive ratchet, your 15mm shallow socket, and go ahead and tighten up both bolts. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright guys, we're up at the master cylinder. Look at that. The Timmy Tower did its job. So let's take that out.
There's a lot of fluid.
It was. What the heck is that? Is that a bug I'm picking up?
Ew. Yo. Hey.
Into the plastic it goes. Alright. Take your cap, put your cap on. Now guys, this next part is very important. If you got your tires on and you get ready to leave, you're gonna run into somebody and kill them. Alright, you gotta pump up your brake pedals.
Wow.
That's right. Let me show you what that means. Alright, we'll come over here. Now, what you gotta do is when you push those pistons back, when you step on the brakes, you're gonna push fluid through the brake lines and to the calipers, and those pistons are gonna come back out. But the first time, that pedal's gonna come all the way to the floor because that caliper gotta meet those rotors. So, now watch what happens when I step on the brakes the first time. Now pretend, say if you just started your car, you put it in drive, and you get ready to go. This is what's gonna happen. Bam, straight to the floor. You do not want that. You gotta pump the brake, you gotta let it up, and you gotta keep pumping that brake pedal up. Get those pistons out there until you get a pedal just like that. Then you're done. All right, you check your brake fluid and then you're finished. All right, we'll be right back.
All right, so that's how you do front brakes and rotors, well, brake pads and rotors on a 2005 Chevy Impala with 3.8 engine. If you guys have any comments or questions, you can post it below in the comment section, or you can email Timmy at tim@astralautorepairs.com. Hope you paid attention. If not, watch it again. This is Sylvia from Astral Auto Repairs. If we can't repair it, nobody can. See you next time.